Karim Selim, or the serial killer of New Cairo, is better referred to as a serial killer because his actions perfectly match the definition of the term. We are dealing with three personalities here, two that people around him are well aware of, and a third one that only his victims have seen. Before we start, please don't forget to hit the like button. Here is the full story of the New Cairo serial killer. In 1987, Karim was born in Alexandria into a very well-off family. Everyone who knew Karim from his childhood always said that he loved to stand out and be different from those around him. He had to do anything unusual that would make him unique. After completing his basic education, his entire family moved to America and settled there, but Karim stayed in Egypt to continue his university studies. He enrolled in the American University in Cairo. His classmates described him as a well-bred, respectful, polite, and extremely elegant person. This was the first persona of Karim Selim known to many who knew him well. After completing his university studies, he worked in business with his father, but he also wanted to be independent and build his own future. Everyone around him knew that his success largely depended on his father and his father's wealth. Therefore, Karim decided to pursue a PhD at the American University in psychology, focusing on modifying the behavior of deviant individuals as if he were talking about himself. After completing his PhD, he met his wife in Alexandria. She got to know his second persona. Same respectful and elegant traits, but now with the added title of being cultured due to his PhD. This sophisticated persona would stay with Karim for a long time and heavily influence his interactions with people in the future. Soon after getting married, he took his wife and moved to America to settle there with his family. The main goal was to live there permanently and never return to Egypt. What made Karim's travel to America easy was that he already had American citizenship. He stayed there for 5 full years, during which they were blessed with a son named Zain, who completely changed Karim's life. Zain was everything to Karim. However, conflicts began to arise between him and his wife due to Karim's nature, which his wife started to see clearly. Karim was very suspicious and had many problems, always wanting to feel special. When his wife complained about him for any reason, it made him very upset and led to many arguments. His wife felt that he did not work and relied heavily on his father's wealth. Even his family began to notice his issues, realizing he never listened to anyone's advice and thought he was right about everything. Because of this, Karim decided to return to Egypt with his wife and son to start a new life there. At the beginning of 2017, after Karim and his wife returned to Egypt, they opened a tattoo studio in New Cairo. Karim specifically chose this area to settle in. The studio ran successfully for 2 years, with his wife primarily managing the business and being the face of the studio, while Karim had little visible involvement. During this time, in addition to his work at the tattoo studio, Karim also worked at one of the most prestigious international schools in Egypt, which was the same school his son Zain attended. In 2019, Karim's problems started to surface at the school where he worked. These issues stemmed from unprovoked arguments. Whenever someone spoke to him, he would create a significant conflict despite his efforts to appear calm and cultured. Strangely, Karim would often apologize by bringing a rose the next day, making it hard to believe that anything unusual could come from him. Despite the image he tried to maintain, the school decided to let him go due to his increasingly evident drug use. Although Karim had been using drugs for a long time, his usage intensified while he was in America, leading to more frequent and severe hallucinations. In the same year, 2019, a major conflict between Karim and his wife led to their divorce. He accused her of infidelity with his best friend, claiming he had seen them together, and filed a case of adultery against her. After the divorce and the legal battle, Karim took custody of their son Zain to live with him. This situation revealed Karim's third personality, one not widely known but about which we will learn more shortly. To everyone else, Karim Selim was a university professor, a cultured and respectable individual. No one knew about the hidden side of his personality. How many people have we met in our lives with the same facade as Karim? After divorcing his wife and taking Zain, Karim moved into an apartment in New Cairo, within one of the most famous compounds there. He instructed the person in charge of finishing the apartment to soundproof a specific room completely, claiming his obsession with music and the need for clear sound quality for his videos as the reason, not wanting to disturb the neighbors with loud music at night. The worker complied, respecting Karim's apparent consideration for the neighbor's comfort. Karim settled into the apartment with his son and started a TikTok account where he posted various videos offering tips for learning English and advice on improving parent-child relationships. He appeared in several videos with Zain, teaching him proper English or certain psychological behaviors for children. It was evident that Karim's goal with these videos was to show specific people, especially Zain's grandfather, that he was an ideal father doing everything for his son's benefit. This reinforced Karim's second personality, emphasizing his cultured and respectable image. During this period, Karim Selim's name began to spread widely on TikTok because he provided free English language learning videos. Many people were impressed by his style, appearance, and very polished way of speaking. The strange thing is that Karim had convinced his son Zain that his mother had died after their divorce, never telling him that she was still alive. It seems that the betrayal Karim experienced, according to his own words, although it's hard to trust an addict's account, led him to file an adultery case against his wife. This betrayal left Karim with a constant sense of revenge against any woman who might act unfaithfully or work in prostitution or even just agree to go to an apartment with someone they just met because of his appearance, social status, and visible wealth. Ice, methamphetamine had a strong hold on Karim's mind, along with many other types of drugs. Karim developed a strong sense of pleasure from torture, whether feeling it himself or watching someone else suffer. He started experimenting with this feeling, and it became clear that he had tried it many times before, but the circumstances hadn't allowed it. The divorce and the emptiness that followed gave him the opportunity to take this step. That's why he requested a completely soundproof room so no one would hear anything. This marks the beginning of his third persona, one that only his victims saw. A persona filled with violence, unpredictable in what he might do to people in that soundproof room. Karim started going to cafes, trying to meet attractive women, luring them either with money or by offering various favors. These women had no reason to be wary of Karim because his appearance made it hard to believe he could be anything but normal. Moreover, Karim was becoming quite famous due to his TikTok account. So many women admired his personality at first sight. After taking them to his apartment, he would engage in sadistic, perverse relationships with them, often after they both consumed large amounts of ice and other drugs. When Karim reached a certain level of satisfaction, he would increase the dosage to fulfill his desires further, which would escalate his methods of torture and inhuman abuse, whipping, hair pulling, and nail removal, eventually leading to strangulation and death. He would strangle his victims either with a rope or a metal chain he kept in his room. After the victims died, Karim had no qualms about sexually assaulting them again. Calmly, after finishing, Karim would take the body, drive to a desert road, and dispose of it. The bodies were left disfigured with no identifying features. He would then return to his life as usual, creating and uploading new videos on TikTok. The strange part is that his son lived with him in the same apartment, and it's unclear how Zain never heard anything, especially considering that some of the women stayed with Karim for up to 18 days. The neighbors had many suspicions about Karim. They noticed many women coming to his apartment, then disappearing without a trace. Occasionally, they heard screams, but the sounds would stop very quickly. Karim lived this way starting in 2011, showing great intelligence in disposing of bodies and selecting victims. He chose remote desert locations for dumping the bodies and picked women from different residential areas and age groups, ensuring that it would be difficult for anyone to notice their disappearance quickly. And we reached the crucial stage: how the security forces cleverly managed to catch Karim and arrest him. Initially, a report reached the security forces that a group of people had found a girl's severely disfigured body, with no identification on her, discarded on the desert road leading to Port Said. The security forces arrived, examined the body, and then transported it to the forensic department, where they took a DNA sample to identify the victim. Subsequently, they found 2 more bodies with the same characteristics, disfigured bodies showing clear signs of torture, no identification, and completely erased facial features. These 2 bodies were also sent to the forensic department. The forensic report revealed crucial details. All 3 bodies had neck fractures, indicating they were strangled either with a rope or a metal chain. Additionally, the bodies bore evident signs of torture all over, particularly on the face, and had large amounts of drugs in their systems, especially ice. Furthermore, The bodies showed signs of sexual assault, with one victim being raped post-mortem. Marks from a whip were clearly visible on the backs of all three bodies. This confirmed to the security forces that the same person committed these crimes, despite the bodies being found in different distant locations. Upon identifying the bodies, the security forces discovered that the victims' families had filed missing persons reports. Investigating these reports and the victims' backgrounds, they found that one was from Nasr City, another from Al-Zawiya Al-Hamra, and the third from Abu Nomros. The victims ranged in age from 19 to 37 years old. The question then arose, what was the connection between these three women? The security forces contacted the victims' families. One father mentioned that his daughter had been taking English lessons with a man named Karim, who was the last person to see her. When the father called Karim to ask about his daughter, Karim claimed she had visited but left and he had no information about her whereabouts. Concurrently, the security forces were reviewing surveillance footage, which drew their attention to a luxury car seen near the locations where the bodies were found. Upon investigating, they discovered the car belonged to Professor Karim. Full background checks on Karim revealed he held American citizenship. The security forces arrested him, but initially Karim denied everything, asserting that his American citizenship protected him from arrest. However, the security forces were legally prepared. Faced with the evidence, Karim began to confess, starting by revealing the location of a fourth body. Thus, 4 women were confirmed as Karim's victims, and it was clear there were likely more. Given Karim's danger, he even attempted to escape while reenacting the crime with the security forces. They swiftly recaptured him as he tried to hide in a public park. The security forces seized all of Karim's belongings, including his mobile phone and laptop, which contained complete evidence for the case. When they searched his apartment, they found the soundproof room equipped with a whip, chain, rope, drugs, and sedatives he used on his victims. Additionally, numerous videos on his phone and laptop showed him torturing and sexually assaulting the victims. In his confessions, Karim claimed he couldn't remember the exact number of victims. The investigation is ongoing, marking one of the most challenging cases in Egypt, with a crime resembling those of international serial killers. A serial killer is not just a psychopath, they derive pleasure from inflicting pain and experiencing it themselves. How many people have we met in our lives with Karim's characteristics? And please never trust someone solely based on their appearance or sophistication unless you truly know them well.